Okay, y'all, today we are working on a Bobcat 4x4, little side-by-side, bogging down, probably got trash in it. I'm gonna pull the fuel out of it. I changed the fuel pump, I changed the fuel filter yesterday, which is right there. That's the fuel pump, clean the lines, ran okay for about 30 minutes and then didn't run okay. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can pull the fuel out of the fuel tank and see what it looks like. All right, so here we go. I got my little jiggler hose here. Hopefully we're high enough. There we go. See if we can siphon that out. There it comes, and that's red because it's off-road diesel. So for those of you that don't use off-road diesel, here in North Carolina, you don't pay sales road tax on it, so it's about 50 or 60 cents cheaper per gallon. But you cannot use it in on-road vehicles, and if you get caught with this pretty red diesel in your on-road vehicle, you will get a big old fat ticket. But for tractors and skid steers and equipment that off-road, certainly it's a whole lot cheaper if diesel can be cheaper. I think right now diesel's $5.71 a gallon here, so this is probably about $5.10, $5.20, something like that. I haven't bought any here lately. But let's see what we get so far. Looking okay. What's coming out of it, I haven't seen any big globs of gunk. And if diesel gets old, it'll actually start molding and it'll build kind of clumps that look like algae in it. And then your fuel pump and your filters will suck that up, and then it'll act like it's starving for fuel, because it is. But let's see what we end up with. Say so far so good. Pretty good sized little tank here. We are pretty close to the bottom. And if you don't have one of these jiggler hoses, they're definitely something to pick up. I get these out actually at the North Carolina State Fair, not the fair, the farm show that comes in February of every year. Comes to the North Carolina State Fairgrounds, and there's a guy out there that they manufacture them and sell them out there, and they're very well made. I've probably got a half a dozen of them around here, and I use them for water. They were sucking air now, so cut it down to the bottom. I didn't see anything in that fuel that concerned me terribly that I could see, but we'll stop right here. Let me get everything cleaned up, and then we'll look into the tank. All right, see if I can make this happen here. It's just gonna have to sit down there. Hopefully we don't blow ourselves up. All right, can you guys see that big gob of gunk right there? That ain't supposed to be in my fuel tank. I don't know what it is yet, but got a feeling it's the culprit. We'll pull it out of there and see what the heck it is. Okay, y'all, I got a little better view for you. There you go. So again, I got a stick here. Again, I don't know what this is, but it's a big old glob of some kind of mess that's floating around in there. We need to get that out. If you use a stick, kind of like that stick, make sure you cut a green stick. Don't get a branch off the ground that bark will fall off of. If you do, you just put more trash in there. So that's probably water and gunk and dirt and whatever, but we need to get it out of there, so that's what we're going to do. And we'll get the tank cleaned out. If you look back over that way, if I can get in here good enough. Here's your pickup tube back over there. If I can move this out of the way. Yeah. Well, that's your pickup line right there. So you can see there's some other stuff in there as well. So anything that's floating around in there, it's gonna go right down there, and that little suction tube is gonna grab it. And when it does, it's gonna starve for fuel. So that's what we're working with. Okay, y'all. I got a set of mechanical fingers here. For those of you that don't know what that is, got a little set of prongs. See if I can get where you can see it. It's got a little set of prongs that come out and grab stuff. See if we can grab this, the Blob. Oh, yeah. Well, see, it kind of fell apart. So like I said, this is kind of like, almost like algae. Just slime. Can y'all see that? It literally is like just the old slimy sludge. You suck that up in your fuel line, yeah, you're gonna come to a slow halt as it squeezes that stuff out. Let's see if I can get this other little chunk. There it comes. Again, the Blob. That's all it is. Kind of looks like a pile of chicken poop. Okay, so now I got the big stuff out. I'm going to take these mechanical fingers and get a hold of one of these towels and see if I can mop the bottom of the rest of it out of there. There's not another solid chunk like that in there, but there's a little bit of stuff. So I'm gonna wipe that tank out and we'll get back here in a minute. Hey, how did we do? We've got a good bit out of there. So we're gonna have to soak the rest of it out of there with a towel. So that'll be our next venture. I've got the bulk of it. You can see we still got some gunk in there, and you know, we want to get all of that out of there. If not, you're just going to have a repeat process. That's water right down there, kind of right at the bottom where the light is. So just gunk in the tank, not junk, gunk. Okay, y'all. So you see I put a handful of towels down in there. Took my handy dandy piece of 1/2 inch PVC pipe, just kind of raked it around, let it absorb. We're going to do that one more time. We'll pull those out with our mechanical fingers, and then we should be ready to put our fuel back in, check everything out, and see if we can make this baby run. Let's see how this is going to work. There we go. Like a glove, we're just going to throw it out here on the ground in the dirt. We don't want to put it back in our good fuel. All right, so we're getting there. Okay, y'all. Pretty well cleaned that in there. I pulled this line. This is our line that feeds our fuel pump. And we want to blow through that and just see what's coming out. Make sure we don't have any gunk in this line itself. Looks pretty good. Happy with that. I'll go ahead and put it back on. Okay, we'll put the clamp back on here in a second. Make sure we got her pushed all the way up. Okay. So overall, pretty happy with what the tank looks like in there. I think we can call that clean. We'll get the last little bit of fuel out of there. Get that last towel out. And it's probably as clean as the day it was when it was brand new. It's far from brand new. This thing takes a beating. All right. Put those over there. Be good starters for my burn pile. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Looks pretty good. Next piece we're going to do, we're going to put our clamp on there. We're going to get a bottle and catch some fuel coming out of here and see if we got any gunk coming through there. I don't think so, but I don't think that fuel pump was big enough to pick that up. I think it was just sucking it to the bottom of that feed tube. Okay, y'all. So instead of pulling the fuel pump, I just pulled it at the end of the filter here. If the pump is full, we'll get restricted flow out the end of the filter. Then I had to drink all my Coke Zero, so I have a bottle to get some fuel in because I don't want that crappy fuel, if it is crappy, going into my tank I just cleaned up. So stick with me here. I gotta set you down for just a second. Might be able to see that, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, let me turn the key on and I'll show you. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, we got good fuel pressure coming out there. Well, maybe, let's see. We're catching up. Still don't like that. Started good. Let's see. It should be pumping away. Maybe that fuel pump, there we go. Sure don't have a whole lot of oomph to it. All right, not liking that. All right. I'm gonna let him sit over there. Put the cap on here so I can reuse that to catch fuel. Let's go ahead and see if we can pull this one off. This is not the right tool for this particular clamp, but we're gonna make it work. Otherwise, I gotta go all the way back up to the house and to the garage up there, and it ain't happening right now. So, come on, you devil. Okay. That's what I need, is fuel on my hands. All right, we're gonna pull that out. And just making sure nothing's in that. It's fine. But I'm a little suspicious of this fuel pump now. It may be full of something, or it may just be worn out. Okay. All right, nothing out of there. Let's go ahead and give her some fuel back into the tank. See what happens. Okay. Be right back, guys. I'm gonna put some fuel in this tank and we'll let it go again. Okay, y'all. So we got our hose back down in here. I got the bottom half of that bucket. I cut the top half up to catch it. I turned it over and just use it for a stand, and that way I should be able to siphon this right back in here. There we go. Off she goes. No muss, no fuss. So I'll let that siphon in and I'll crank it back up. We'll check that fuel pump and move forward. All right, y'all. That jiggler hose got everything except that very little bit in the bottom, which I'm glad. It's got a little bit of garbage in it. Didn't want it anyway. All right, so we got fuel back in our tank. Now let's try our fuel pump and see what it looks like. I'm gonna have plenty of fuel there now. I'll drop my phone inside the tank. That won't be good. All right, again, this is just a little 12-volt fuel pump. It's got one hot wire going to it and the ground. The ground's through the frame itself. So we gotta have a really good solid string coming out of here. There we go. Looks really good. Okay, happy with that. We'll put our fuel line back on, check through our filter, make sure our filter's not stopped up, which I don't think it is. It's brand new. Again, I don't think we had it on there long enough to pick up anything, but we will double check. Same thing, we want to see a good solid stream of fuel coming into this bottle. You guys see that? No? See if I can turn this a hair. Yeah, there you go. All right. Probably ain't the best view because of that seat belt, but of course it wants to be right in the way. There we go. Filling up the fuel filter. There we go. Got a good solid stream. Okay. All right, and we're going to hook our fuel line back up here. I need 3 or 4 different hands. And you got to remember where you put your tools. A pair of pliers sitting here somewhere. Let's try these until I find them. All right, here we go. We just want to slide our clamp right back where it was. Looks good there. That just hangs there. Fuel line's here. We'll go ahead and turn it on. Just kind of do a fuel leak check. Make sure we don't have anything that's going to cause a problem. Everything looks pretty dry. So we would be looking here. We'd be looking at the fuel pump, any of the lines, the fuel filter, and then this is called a banjo fitting, where it goes into your engine, because this little piece back here is round, and then there's a bolt that goes through here. It's this end of this looks like like a hole on a band, or the end of a banjo with a hole through it, and the bolt goes through and it has a hole through it that feeds fuel. So we're good to go there, and we're going to put this cover back on here, and we'll crank it up here in just a minute. All right, y'all, I'm just about done. Had a couple other things. So your line going to your pump, it's a little breather line. It was full of mud. Just check the end of that, and it just hangs over there. You can see how much mud's in here. I haven't pressure washed this in a while, but out here on the farm we're constantly running through mud holes and whatnot. But anyway, we got a good leak check. We're going to crank this bad boy up. So again, turn it on. We're not seeing any fuel coming out where it's not supposed to. This one you do have to push the brake to start it. So we'll go on the other side and do that. And see what we'll come up with, and then we'll take it for a little test drive. All right. We're down in neutral there. Sounds good. We're gonna clean up. We'll take it down the farm road for a quick test drive, see what happens. All right, y'all. So again, that is all this good. Just, you know, it looks like algae that was in the bottom of the tank. So pretty sure that's our problem, or was our problem. We're gonna leave that. We're gonna take this down and put on, throw all these old towels on our burn pit. And let that, flip that tub upside down on it and let it dry. All right, here we go. All right. Started right up like she's supposed to. Dust cloud go by me. Okay, just dry here. We need some rain. Maybe it's coming next week. So I'm just going to take this guy and all this mess. And this is normally animal feed or stuff that can't be recycled. All right. Here we go. Off in the big garage. Then we're going to go up the hill over here on the other side of the farm, put this thing under a load and see if we lose any power. I don't think we're going to, but we'll find out just in a minute. Alright guys, here we go up the hill. Let's see what we got.